Hey everyone, it's Michael from Chess Lifestyle. A few days ago, I played in a tournament online. I think it was called Dulce or something. I don't know French, so I can't really pronounce it, but yeah. It was an online tournament that involved Zoom. And I took down some titled players for the first time in my chess history. And I won against 2 IMs and a WGM, which I'm going to show you the game. It was actually the final round of the tournament, and I was just very proud of how I played. Some of you won't believe I actually played this game because I've been playing some utter garbage online recently, just like flagging my opponents. So yeah, it's just been, I guess, ups and downs, you could say. But yeah, I think I played really well this game, so I wanted to share that with all of you guys. So my opponent is a player called Unuk, I think that's how you pronounce her name, and she has a FIDE of 2390, so yeah, a very respected, strong player. So yeah, in the final round of the tournament, I had the black pieces, and finally I got my beloved Benoni defense, and actually in between the rounds, there was about 3 minutes of time before the next round would begin, and you would be told at the start of those 3 minutes who your opponent would be. So I looked at my opponent and I saw that she actually played the mainline Benoni. Yeah, so not g3. Basically, in all of her games, she had been playing this like e4, f4, and bishop b5 check. And in the last month or so, I've really been booking up on the correct way to play in this system, and like 15-20 moves of theory in many different directions in this line. So I was looking forward to finally putting it to the test against a really strong player. And of course, she doesn't go into that and plays g3 instead. But I still had some idea of what to do, and yeah, for those who don't know, sorry, I've sped through the moves real quick, but this is a modern Benoni, and you get this kind of structure where all of these starting moves are generally the most common moves, and you kind of get to this position really quickly. But the whole idea is that white will have a space advantage, be able to push these pawns, have lots of space for his pieces. Black on the other hand has less space, but instead will fianchetto his bishop and control this long diagonal, and has actually quite a few interesting plans and can give some really devastating attacks on the king side, but also the queen side. So yeah, it's just a very fun opening to play, and I've played it my whole life. And I would certainly recommend it to any of you viewers who are looking for something a bit more dynamic than, I don't know, your Queen's Gambit Declined, where your opponent just has an advantage and you're just trying to hold for a draw. So yeah, okay, this is the modern Benoni. I get my bishop on this long diagonal, and we get to this, I believe it's a theoretical position. And yeah, after a4, whenever white plays a4, generally we try and play a6. It's kind of one of these rules, and likewise, if I ever play a6, white plays a4 to stop me playing b5. So it's just one of these things. Sometimes you wouldn't want to do it, and maybe actually in this case, a6 could potentially weaken this b6 square in case the knight ever jumps, which actually happens in the game. But okay, it's a blitz game. I'm just trying to play out the moves pretty quickly. So here, white played a3, which I mean I've probably seen before, but I didn't really remember what to do. But I kind of just play on ideas in the Benoni. So my idea is that I want to play my knight here into the center, but I want to wait to commit my knight to here once white plays his knight here. And the idea of that is to basically, well, firstly defend my d6 pawn, which would be attacked, but also just challenge this knight and try and force it off that good square on c4. So I play knight bd7, white decides to play knight d2, I play rook b8 because I need to make a waiting move. I don't want to commit the knight too early, and I don't really have any other useful moves, so I want to play rook b8 to help me push b5 one day. And white played a5, which is a common idea to basically, if I play b5, white's going to take en passant. And for those that don't know, it's this weird move in chess where the pawns normally just capture diagonally, but if you push the pawn 2 squares on its first move, white can actually take, like this. And I see many posts online about people like accusing their opponents of cheating and using some like high-tech cheating software to capture unfairly, but no, it's just a weird rule that's in chess. So yeah, Sun is available in the position, and actually, apparently the mainline theory is to play b5 and black is just equal here. But instead I played the second most common move. I didn't know the like theory at all, but knight h5, even though computer will say suddenly, oh, plus 0.8 or something, I think it's the correct way to play in terms of like in the spirit of the Benoni. So knight h5 is played, knight c4, best move. I challenge knight c4 with knight e5, and my opponent gets her knight to b6. So after knight b6, I kind of think about the position quite briefly and think, okay, what do I want to be doing? You know, I've got all of my pieces developed apart from my bishop so far, and I saw that, okay, my bishop can come to this square, and I'm not really worried about if the knight ever takes because the pawn will take, and then I have these nice queenside pawns. So also in the Benoni, you always want to be trying to remove one piece to gain more activity for the pieces because they'll have more room to move around. Because when you're at a space disadvantage, you want to just get rid of one piece and then, yeah, your pieces will have room. So I played bishop d7. Obviously, she didn't take my bishop. And I thought in this position, if white were to play f4, I had no idea how to evaluate this, but my knight is actually trapped. So I was planning to just take on g3, and if they take here, then I would probably take the knight. I mean, take the rook. That was my plan. And then I would try and recapture with the bishop, bring my queen in, and it's a very dynamic position. Like, white's got 2 pieces. I've got a rook and pawn, but the king is weak. So I have no idea how to evaluate it, but certainly interesting for Blitz. Secondly, if white were to have played g4, which is apparently the correct way to refute this move, I was thinking of just sacrificing. Bishop takes, h takes, and knight takes here. And the problem is, like, even though endgame will scream like, oh, +2 in this position, it's +2 with the only move queen d3, and any other move is like black's better. So yes, with a lot of preparation, maybe I can't get away with just playing these moves, but it's also very difficult to play. Like, this is all coming in very quickly, and white's just got a light square bishop defending his king. So I was all ready to go down that sacrifice. Instead, Laura played knight e4, and here I got my bishop to b5. So I was very happy from this opening. Like, all of my pieces are active. I've got some potential kingside attacks. Here, Laura played bishop g5, and I played queen c7 quite quickly. And suddenly, after g4, I realized, oh wait, okay, now I don't have a bishop to sacrifice on g4, and my knight is actually trapped. But, as always in the Benoni, there will be resources to save the position. Okay, I can't say always, but a lot of the time there is. So I was like, okay, don't panic, Michael, like, focus. What should black do to not just be losing a piece? And I only saw the move h6, which was if takes, then takes, and the position gets very interesting again. Apparently, actually, I had f5 as well, and black is completely fine. But h6 was what I played in the game. G takes h5, h takes g5. I should probably mention that this game, the time control was 3 minutes plus 2, so both sides didn't have too much time to think and consider that option. It was more like playing on intuition and instinct. So in this position, h takes g6, and here I played knight takes g6. And what we have here, what we have here is a position where it looks like I might be losing a pawn, but in fact, all of my pieces are so active, I would be able to regain the pawn and much more. I fancied my chances very well here. I think both kings are slightly weak, but the Benoni player is used to these kind of like double-edged positions, so yeah, I was pretty happy with this. And after a long think, my opponent took the pawn on g5, and I don't know, I didn't think it was a good move because now I could just take on e2 and I've got this fork. So here, I'm now an exchange up, I believe. Yeah, an exchange up. So the momentum has shifted in my direction. I start bringing my pieces to the king side. Like, no longer is this ever a plan to expand on the queen side. So now my pieces need to change route. So f4 was played, trying to gain some attack on my king, which is the right way to play. But by playing f4, actually Laura's king was weakened, and I played bishop d4 check, activating my bishop from a good square to an even better square. King h1, staying on the light squares to avoid any dark square checks. And here I played king g7, because my idea was to bring my rook to the h file and try and give some big attack like this. Activate all my pieces, essentially. But suddenly, I realized, oh wait, does white have f5? Attacking my knight, and once my knight moves, f6, and I'm done for. But luckily, when I had this realization, I realized, actually, if white plays f5, I can take this knight. And my whole position is completely fine. And as soon as I had that thought, my opponent played f5. So I was like, okay, smashed out queen takes g5, and she had a think, realized that she had blundered, and after takes, queen takes, she played queen d1, and now, if you would like, pause the video and see which move I played to really just, I don't know, dominate the position and give white absolutely no chances of coming back. So in the position, I played the move rook to e3. Now the idea is that in this previous position, my rook on b8 is doing nothing, and I would like to activate this rook somewhere. But if I play rook h8, which makes sense, you want to line up your rook against the king, then this rook doesn't actually have a great square to go to. Okay, it can replace the other rook to e8, but if it wants to do anything, it probably has to come somewhere on this file, which all takes time, and maybe gives white some time to consolidate, or maybe somehow bring this knight into attack. So I didn't want to give my opponent any room. Oh, that's an alarm for 3 p.m. in case I fell asleep and, didn't wake up and missed my work, which is in a couple hours. As you can see, my hair is still kind of wet from a shower. So anyway, yeah, I sleep late, wake up late. It's just how I am. So, okay, in this position, rook e3 was played because now my rook can come to h8 in one go, and here she attacks my rook. I bring the rook to an even more active square, and white tries to hold and defend, but the problem is, especially in Blitz, trying to defend and your opponent's putting on pressure, it's extremely difficult to find the correct moves to defend. And here I'm just piling on the pressure, and we see now that all of my pieces are contributing to the attack, which is perfect. She takes a pawn. I have absolutely no intention of taking the knight because that would take my pieces away from the attack, and yeah, maybe white might have some kind of counterplay, so I just went for my checks and captures. So rook takes h3 check, bishop h3, rook h3, and after queen h2, rook h2, king h2, queen d6 with check, not allowing my opponent any time to breathe, and in a few moves, she actually resigned, I can quickly play. But yeah, this position, the rook is falling because of the bishop, so yeah, she threw in the towel. But that was my game against a woman grandmaster. It's actually my first ever win against a woman grandmaster, I think, in any time control. Not including well, actually, yeah, maybe even including online Blitz. But yeah, I was very, very proud of this game, and this whole tournament. I thought I played some really good chess, so it shows that the training and hard work I've been putting in recently is paying off. And I would say one thing that I really feel like my chess has taken form in the last week or so was studying Dvoretsky's Endgame manual, but not just studying it on my own, but with a coach. So I have a friend called Nicola, who's also my chess coach, and we meet up quite regularly to attempt for exercises at the end of each chapter in Dvoretsky, and he'll force me to basically calculate the positions and be as clear and as fast as possible. And just training calculation like that, it just got me so much sharper to seeing all of these ideas in a Blitz game. So yeah, I would thoroughly recommend taking a look at Dvoretsky's endgame manual, and just maybe if you've got a friend or even a coach, you can try and do the same thing, starting with the pawn endgames and yeah, just working on your raw calculations. I'd say the exercises are pretty tough though, so if you're perhaps below 1800, or maybe even 2000, probably it's going to be a struggle, but yeah, something to think for in the future at least, if you're working hard on your chess and going for the top. Okay, that's enough of me rambling for today. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you had any thoughts about the game, or you'd like to share how your chess journey is going, feel free to write in the comments. I tried to respond to all the comments. And yeah, see you next time. Okay, bye bye.